This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Here's a quick podcast for all you true crime fans. The case of the missing Reese's. It was me at the store with my mouth. Motive? They're Reese's. What was I going to do? Stop myself? Tune in next time to see if I do it again. Spoiler, I will. Wow, that had everything. Reese's, suspense, Reese's.
The wrongs we must right. The fights we must win. The future we must secure together for our nation. This is what's in front of us. This determines what's next for all of us. We are Marines. We were made for this.
All right, man, welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I appreciate you for tuning in. Leave us a quick take on a voicemail line, 219-413-9405. If you hear something you just want to talk about, chime in on. I mean, we got the tier list up here finally. So to break down these different tiers of NFL teams, and I was going to reveal it slowly for those who are on the live or watching elsewhere. But you know what? Why do that? I'll just show you the list all at once. And for those listening, you would just hear it all at once as well. So we know who the contenders of the NFL are now. We just finished week 8. We got one more game left. I think it's the Chiefs and Commanders playing tonight for Monday. But ultimately, week 8 is just about over. We're heading into week 9. And now we know who the contenders are. So tier 1 of teams in the NFL. And this tier 1 of teams that I have in tier 1 teams to me are Super Bowl contenders, and they will probably go to the Super Bowl or at least be a serious threat to going to the Super Bowl. So tier 1 teams are potential Super Bowl teams. I have the Indianapolis Colts at 1, the Detroit Lions, the Buffalo Bills, and the Philadelphia Eagles. All of these teams to me are Super Bowl contenders because they take care of business, and ultimately they have what a lot of teams don't, which is consistency. Despite a lot of injuries that some of these teams are going through, they're still consistent. And I know the Eagles could be a debatable conversation, but the Eagles, when in doubt, they have improved over the time that they've spent through week 1 all the way through week 9. We've seen them come out. They were barely winning games. They were just kind of winning games based on pure luck. The offense was very stagnant, couldn't get anything going. But in the last 3 to 4 weeks, they've shown that they've made some sort of changes, and they're pretty much rolling over the last 3 weeks. Now, anything can still happen, but ultimately, the Eagles are a very talented team. They're also one of the most healthiest teams in the NFC. So I think they have to be considered Super Bowl contenders here. Lions are just extremely consistent, putting up points after points, regardless of how many injuries they have on the defensive end. That defense is still there. And then the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, I mean, hey, you can't even argue with the Bills. Yeah, they had some slip-ups so far this season, but you can't argue with the Bills. And I still have a lot of confidence as long as they have Josh Allen at quarterback. And the Colts, man, I've been telling y'all about the Colts, that this team is elite. The Colts are elite, man, leading the league in points per game, and they just continue to thrive offensively in every aspect. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from these 4 teams, but that's my tier 1 teams who are possibly going to compete for a Super Bowl. I have the Indianapolis Colts, the Detroit Lions, the Buffalo Bills, and the Philadelphia Eagles for tier 1 of the NFL. Now, tier 2, because here's where things get interesting. And tier 2 teams to me are probably guaranteed playoff teams. I see tier 2 teams as something where these teams can make some noise, and they probably will end up going to the playoffs and at least having a shot at knocking somebody out of the playoffs and going to the Super Bowl. So I have Denver Broncos, New England Patriots, Kansas City Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers, Seattle Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I have this mix-up of teams in Tier 2 who will probably get to the playoffs, and I'm pretty certain they'll get to the playoffs, actually, for Tier 2 teams. But these Tier 2 teams are certainly going to get to the playoffs, and I think they are very competitive. They have a lot of talent. And man, they've just been rolling. Some of them have easier schedules than a lot of teams, which is going to work to an advantage. I have here the Patriots. They're a team that has an easy schedule, so I think that'll be very beneficial for them. 49ers also have a very easy schedule, but they've been dealing with some injuries, but yet they figure out ways to keep winning, even though they're coming off of a rough game this current week. But I ultimately think, tier 2 teams, this is what you get. Kansas City Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, these two guys have been thriving so far this season. They're not extremely talented where they're like competitive to the point where you're going to think they'll have an easy road to the Super Bowl. But ultimately, I have a lot of faith in what I've seen from these teams all the way up to week 9. And I think they'll be playoff teams, man. You got the Broncos, Patriots, Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers, Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, and the San Francisco 49ers. So those are my tier 2 teams. Tier 3 is what I have for pretty much wild card teams. If you're a wild card team, I think you fall somewhere in tier 3, and these tier 3 teams will be Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Los Angeles Chargers, Los Angeles Rams. I see these 3 teams as like the main teams that could really flip their season and be legitimate contenders or possibly get in the playoffs, but somewhere in that wild card range, because they're not bad teams, but there are some things that they still struggling to figure out. So I'm not super convinced, but they are better than a lot of teams who didn't make it. So any teams that you did not hear in 1, 2, or 3, then I just don't think they're getting to the playoffs. At this point, I don't think they have a shot at getting to the playoffs. I don't think they'll really make anything happen. Now, anything can happen. It's not the end of the season. It's only week 9 coming up. But I don't think these teams who didn't make the cut will be in there. And just to pull up a few of them, let's go back and pull up some of the standings, the current standings right now. Just look through to make sure. So just looking at the top of the AFC right now, top 3 teams is Colts, Patriots, and Broncos, which is insane. But these teams kind of all did a 360, and they've been thriving so far. So that's why they're in that conversation. You look at some of the other teams, Ravens, oh man, 2-5. I know I didn't name them, but the Baltimore Ravens were left out of this conversation just because no Lamar Jackson. And then honestly, I'm a little scared for when Lamar Jackson does return, because even when Lamar Jackson comes back, I don't know how this team will perform. Now, obviously, they'll be able to score the ball and keep up with teams and stay in the game and win some games. But ultimately, man, it's going to be tough. And yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough with that Ravens team, especially approaching that mid-season break so far. You got the Texans. Texans have a great defense, man. I love the Texans defense. They're so intense, and they're very physical and all. I love the Texans defense, but I just don't know if they'll be able to hang offensively. Jaguars are another team that could possibly see the wild card in the AFC. And then that's pretty much it, man. I don't think Joe Burrow is really going to come back and do anything, but the Bengals, I don't think they'll have enough to really lock in and win games in the AFC, if you will. And then for the NFC, the teams outside of who I named, I could see the Cowboys probably turning up and getting into the playoffs, or at least the wild card. They struggle early on, but they're not bad. I think they're okay. They can still turn it around. It's a lot of teams in the NFC that have more leeway to turn things around because the NFC is less competitive than the AFC right now. I think that's a little safe to say, especially when some of the guys like Lamar Jackson and stuff come back. But right now, Cowboys, definitely competitive. I told you I'm out on the Atlanta Falcons. Vikings, they still trying to make something happen, but it's possible. You got a lot of 3-4 teams, 4-4 teams in the NFC. Rams, definitely, I got them wild card for sure. If not the playoff, securing that spot. But division play is going to be huge because you never really know how things will shape out with the division play. So it'll be interesting to see. Bears, 4-3 also. They just recently lost, but I mean, it was kind of an ugly loss, but we'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. And it's still early on, but mid-season, this is where I have a lot of these different tiers, and I have these teams. So I don't think it will change much, and we have a better idea of who's actually good in the NFL and who's not. But it's kind of a surprise. Kind of a surprise. I also think the Giants are toast. Cam Scottaboo is done, so I think they're toast. He's a big blow because he was very dynamic in the backfield, could catch, could run, could block. Like he was a great running back. So that sucks that he's gone now. But Other than that, man, no, that's all I got for you guys. So I appreciate you if you've been kicking it with me. You've been hanging around, and you just been listening on a live stream, or you listen to the pod version, Spotify, iPodcast, wherever you get your podcast. I appreciate it. Send this to a cousin, a brother, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, co-worker, friend, family member. I promise you they will not mind. And I'll be back later on this week. Yeah, I'll be back later on this week. And so on and so on and so on.
Here's a quick podcast for all you true crime fans. The case of the missing Reeses. It was me at the store with my mouth. Motive? They're Reeses. What was I going to do? Stop myself? Tune in next time to see if I do it again. Spoiler, I will. Wow, that had everything. Reeses, suspense, Reeses.
Quick PSA about your FSA. Most FSA funds expire after December 31st, so it's time to use them or lose them. Put those dollars toward your mental wellness with BetterHelp. It's easy. Sign up today and you can be matched with a therapist in as little as 24 hours. Over 137,000 people used their FSA or HSA funds with BetterHelp last year alone. Head to betterhelp.com/HSA-FSA to get started.